That's it.
You don't have to put on the red light.
It's a strong opening. I appreciate it. I like it. Yeah.
It is a strong opening of a show.
Just like
this movie is a very strong opening of a
strong
film.
opening. Yeah.
Welcome back to another episode of Showgays Movie Musical Podcast, in which we discuss culturally relevant movie musicals that have really redefined an entire generation's idea of what a movie musical is. I have a very big claim to lay today.
Ooh, okay.
Let me say it right now.
Yeah.
I think Moulin Rouge is the reason that we have legal gay marriage in America.
Wow.
I
think we should
Obergefell.
Yeah, I think that we should definitely put a pin in that and make people keep listening in order to know your reasoning for that.
What you got to do, you got to hook them in.
That's called the
beginning.
hook.
Yeah.
Yes. The first
so
minute.
Yeah. Wow. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to all the gay couples that are married.
Yeah, only them. Not interested in anybody else celebrating.
I don't know if men and women can get married.
Do they do that?
That's why I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a thing.
I've never met any.
No.
Men or women.
No. Everyone I know is non-binary. Every single person. Also, it's like a French February. Did we do that on purpose?
No, but
it's been a French season because we did American in Paris too.
Oh, wow.
But when I was watching it yesterday, I was like, wow, we are in France again.
We are in France, everyone. Yeah. Yeah.
It is funny that the one actual French movie was not Parisian, though.
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, there are other places in France, and I think the rest of the world probably doesn't know that. And so that's why, French films are, I'm sure, set in many cities.
It's also our second February 15th in a row where we have watched a French movie musical. Last year we watched, and it was the same setup where it was the one from
it was
previous.
The revival.
It was Phantom.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was a revival.
So
episode.
I think there's something in the water about France and Valentine's Day.
There's something there.
Something about love.
French are known for their love.
Do you think we'll talk about love today?
No, it's not really a theme in this movie.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
Liberté.
The listeners are listening to this.
Fraternité.
It's after Valentine's Day. Adam and I have just stuffed our faces at the Cheesecake Factory like we do every year on Valentine's Day.
True.
Yes.
The tradition.
It's our tradition.
It's our tradition.
I told my boyfriend that we're going to watch Pride and Prejudice, and then I said, I'll never tell you what to do, but I really like flowers, just so you know. So we'll see if he delivers.
What's your favorite flower?
He doesn't listen to this, right?
He doesn't. My favorite flower is just like growing our lilacs, but I don't think that those are sold as like in a bouquet.
Yeah. Adam
they
also
die
a lilac.
basically as soon as they're cut from
yeah. But we had a lilac bush in my backyard when I was
We did too.
Yeah. So I love lilacs. I told him I feel like red roses are a little stereotypical. So it's like kind of anything except for that. I like other colors of roses, but I love purples and oranges in a bouquet.
Oh.
Yeah. But I don't have like a type of flower that I'm more attached to than others.
I like a lily, but white lilies are usually served funerals.
Yeah, funerals. Yeah.
But it's so pretty when it blooms.
It's so pretty, and then I sneeze like crazy.
Yes, I am so allergic.
Their pollen is wild.
Also, this is the first time that I'm mentioning having a boyfriend on the podcast, and I do feel I need to just quickly apologize to the listeners for dating a man. I'm sure you're all very disappointed.
I think all of the l'ensemble, the femsemble, are so disappointed now. They're like, damn. They're probably returning their money that they didn't pay for because they were promised showgays.
And they got a show straight.
They got a current show straight.
You don't become straight just because you're dating one man, but yes.
Bi people don't exist.
Okay,
Molly.
great.
Adam had an invent. Erase.
Molly,
before we dive into
this, obviously,
we have a mailbag.
We have a mailbag, and I want to apologize to Lucas because I got the email like right after we recorded one, but then also kept forgetting to read it. So Lucas sent us an email on January 2nd that was titled "Wonka is good, I swear it," because we kept making jokes about how we weren't going to see Wonka, essentially. But he says that we should see
I want to say this. Don't beat yourself up because in your defense, if he sent this January 2nd, we only recorded Mean Girls. And then we already had Umbrellas in the can.
That's true. So we're like only one episode behind. Okay. Yep. He says we should have checked it out in theaters. I don't know if that's still a thing that we could do. Paul King, who directed Paddington 1 and 2, knows how to make a movie musical, like classic Hollywood. Creating movie musical magic that all ages could enjoy. The songs might not be show-stopping, but they're surprisingly catchy and well-filmed numbers with fun dancing. And then he says, and I take this a little bit as a personal attack, if you see Wonka, please go in with an open mind/heart and leave your cynicism at the theater door, because it's a movie for families, so judge it for what it is. And Lucas, I don't think that we're cynics. I feel that I too.
Lucas, we loved Zombies 3.
Yeah, I feel that I unironically loved Zombies 3. Yeah. I can't believe that you would call us cynical. And then he also says, he does not like Color Purple. She says, even if Wonka songs are silly and childish, they're more complete than the first draft attempt at songwriting in the Color Purple musical. He says it felt more like a series of cool music videos and a big budget movie adaptation, but misses the mark of the original novel. I mean, again, we didn't have any context for that.
Yes, that was our big gap.
It's on my library hold list.
Yeah. He also said, how weird is it that the Globes didn't nominate a single movie musical, not counting Barbie, this year? The only reason I like the Golden Globes is because they honor comedies and musicals. Finally, I'm dreading Mean Girls, the secret movie musical, but need to hear all your thoughts. So Lucas, I hope
please write back. We need to know.
Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it.
What you thought.
Yeah, I know Rita said it wasn't her favorite episode because we liked it, and she doesn't like the podcast episodes as much when we liked the movie.
Oh yeah.
she loves to stir the pot.
She does. She's such a pot. She loves conflict. Yeah, that's really the role she has in our family is causing drama and chaos everywhere she goes.
She's just like the girl later we'll talk about in the movie, who like comes in to stir the pot.
The
with
unnamed,
Satine and Christian, the unnamed dancer, Roxanne. Yeah. It's a little tease for what we'll talk about later. I don't want to talk about this anymore. I want to move on.
Yeah, this movie?
Yes. Let's move on to literally anything.
What's the closer this week?
Molly, what's your closer? Molly, I do have a question for you, though. Yeah. You were challenged this week to, in a minute or less, summarize the plot of the very complicated Moulin Rouge, ! Directed by Baz Luhrmann from 2001. And I would love for you to do that right now.
Our protagonist, Christian, moves to Paris to join the Bohemian movement and immediately falls into a group of artists, including Toulouse-Lautrec, who are looking to produce a new play. The artists visit the Moulin Rouge, where Christian first sees the beautiful burlesque star and courtesan, Satine. Through a mix-up, Christian ends up in Satine's rooms, where she is meant to be seducing a wealthy duke who could fund a new show. Christian and Satine fall in love. The duke promises funding, and Satine strings him along while hiding their affair under the guise of rehearsing the new play, but eventually they are found out. Satine attempts to finally seduce the duke to placate him, but she is unable to hide her feelings for Christian. The Duke attacks her, but she is saved at the last minute and plans to run away with Christian. The Moulin Rouge's manager, Ziedler, tells Satine first that the Duke has threatened Christian's life, and second, that she is dying of consumption. Ziedler convinces Satine the only way to save Christian is to convince him that she never loved him. She does so, and a tormented Christian later returns to the Moulin Rouge on opening night to, quote, pay his whore on stage. However, Satine sings him the song that Christian wrote for her, confirming their love. The Duke's attempted assassination is thwarted, and Satine collapses after the show and dies in Christian's arms.
Wow.
So close. 5 seconds over.
Make it. Okay, I thought maybe the question you're going to ask me is, do you think you're going to do this in a minute? And I was going to say I'm not confident this time, but I didn't want to cut any of that stuff.
Yeah, it's all
it's essential.
It's essential culture. Molly, I'd love to know, since you are the only person who really has never talked about this movie on this podcast before, since RJ and I have done an episode on this before. I'd love to know your history with this film.
I love this movie. I watched it, of course, for the first time. Well, I think I watched it the first time. I was like a little young when I first watched it, like late elementary, maybe even. I think we were not supposed to be watching it, and I was like at a friend's house and we watched it. But obsessed with it in like middle school, high school, had the soundtrack, listened to it all the time. Big Moulin Rouge fan.
Yeah, I don't remember when I first watched it too, but I definitely remember watching, if not the whole movie, parts of it, like I think on TV, like on cable TV maybe. But I had these songs in my like musical theater playlist. So I had the Alpha Love medley. I had, I did have Because We Can. and the Tango Roxanne. And then, we watched it for a previous iteration of Showgays together. And now it is just played at Sidetrack every single night.
Every single night. Not even every single every night.
Well, every single Showgays, because they do, or not Showgays, spoiler. Every single Show Tunes night, because they do Musical Mondays, but then they also do like a Friday and Sunday. Like Sizzler pre,
okay,
special.
Gotcha. And what song or songs do they play at Sidetrack?
It's Elephant Love Medley. That's like the big one.
I don't think
Diamonds. I've seen Diamonds.
Oh, I've seen Diamonds. I've never seen them do Roxanne.
Interesting.
Yeah. But I think leaving the show, I've always Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend was the one that I would always keep in my shuffle rotation.
They should do Spectacular because it's the campiest of all the songs.
Yeah.
Well, the first time I ever watched this movie in its entirety was for our Showgaze episode the first time around.
Oh.
Previous to that, I had seen bits and pieces, and I was very aware that it was not for me. That being said, this is not my second full time watching this film. I'll be honest, I did second screen it, and I was on my phone during it, and I was playing like Candy Crush, basically.
How dare you?
I needed something that was less visually stimulating than the film.
you needed like white noise for your eyes.
I was just watching a YouTube video of a babbling brook.
Wow.
Anytime I needed a break. And yeah, you can go listen to that old episode and find out really what I think about this movie. But I remember my mom and Leslie, I think, liked it a lot. But of course, I was too young because this was like fourth grade when this fourth grade when this movie came out.
My sister was a huge Romeo and Juliet fan. She had all of the posters. She had the biggest crush on Leo.
Yeah.
And
he's so cute in that movie.
Yes. And so I think maybe through osmosis, we like watched Moulin Rouge together because it was like the next big one. And I think she also had like a big moment with it. Not as big as Romeo plus Juliet, but it was always prevalent in like, stuff that she would like watch and was always on.
I'm fine with Romeo plus Juliet. We watched it in high school and I was like, okay.
I think the Shakespeare helps a lot because it's like...
It's accessible.
It's meant to be like...
Yeah.
Yeah. You accept it.
Shakespeare's not really known for being accessible, but I'm glad that's your feeling on it. But I think it grounds the frenetic energy about the style.
You like accept it because it's like, well, it's trying to tell Shakespeare. And so like, I think we've all just accepted that like you put on a capital C concept on Shakespeare to,
Yeah.
Much to our professor's chagrin.
So Moulin Rouge, directed by Baz Luhrmann, written by Baz Luhrmann and Craig Pearce, produced by Martin Brown, Baz Luhrmann, and Fred Barron. This is the third in his own personal glitter cycle. Let's say I forget what it's called. His Red Curtain trilogy.
Uh-huh.
The first movie in his Red Curtain trilogy is Everything's Ballroom. Strictly Ballroom.
Yeah.
Everybody's coming up Ballroom.
Everybody's coming up Ballroom. And then Romeo plus Juliet, and this is the third Moulin Rouge. It stars Nicole Kidman, famous Australian actress, as Satine, the courtesan. Ewan McGregor plays Christian. John Leguizamo plays Toulouse-Lautrec. Jim Broadbent, who most people probably know as Professor Slughorn, plays Harold Ziegler. Ziedler. Rachel Zegler. He plays Rachel Zegler, who is going to soon. They just announced that she's going to be Satine on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
And then Richard Roxburgh plays the Duke. Cinematography is by Donald M. McAlpine. It's edited by Jill Bilcock. Its music is by Craig Armstrong. Production company is Bosmark Productions. It's distributed by 20th Century Fox. So this is now technically a Disney film.
She's a Disney princess.
Yes.
It was released in the United States June 1st, 2001. That's when it went wide. Its running time is 128 minutes. The budget was $50 million and it made $179.2 million.
Whoa.
And it was in American theaters for 46 weeks.
Wow.
In its initial run. Wow. Which is bonkers. We are now in a time where a movie will come out. Literally, Color Purple came out Christmas Day, and 6 weeks later, you could rent it on any virtual streaming device, whatever.
Yeah,
it's bonkers to me. Let's talk about some stuff about this movie. Okay. So, Baz Luhrmann, there's a quote I have from here. He says, "We went to this huge." This is when they were making. He was doing the opera of Midsummer Night's Dream. Oh. We went to this huge ice cream picture palace to see a Bollywood movie. Here we were with 2,000 Indians watching a film in Hindi, and there was the lowest possible comedy and then incredible drama and tragedy and then breakout in songs. And it was 3.5 hours. We thought we had suddenly learned Hindi because we understood everything. We thought it was incredible. How involved the audience were, how uncool they were, how their coolness had been ripped aside and how they were united in this singular sharing of the story. The thrill of thinking, could we ever do that in the West? Could we ever get past that cerebral cool and perceived cool? It required this idea of comic tragedy. Could you make those switches? Fine in Shakespeare, low comedy, and then you die in 5 minutes. In Moulin Rouge, we went further. Our recognizable story, though Orphean in shape, is derived from Camille, La Boheme. Whether you know those texts or not, you recognize those patterns and character types. So he's referencing there that he was inspired by La Boheme, which he did direct at the Sydney Opera House in 1993. And that's where I found out that his background was primarily in opera direction.
Wow.
And then it explained literally everything. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Other critics or other people who have talked about this film have pointed out its similarities to, or similar plot points to La Traviata and a book called Nana by Emile Zola, which is about...
Sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
Oh, I was going to say La Trave is based on Camille. That's like the novel that Traviata is based on. So yeah, all the same.
Nana is Emile Zola. It's a book in which in like the span of 3 years, this girl goes from like a penniless prostitute to being like a super high-end sex worker, basically. And then I was kind of reading the plot on Wikipedia, and every guy she like leaves or like she destroys their life somehow, and half of them end up killing themselves because they love her so much. It's kind of a slay. I was like very into it.
Yeah.
And then there's an Orpheus Eurydice angle that he obviously referenced. Mm-hmm. And Molly or RJ, take it away. Remind us of the Orpheus Eurydice mythology.
Molly, take it away.
Okay. Eurydice dies. Orpheus and Eurydice are in love. Eurydice dies tragically, and Orpheus goes and ventures into the underworld in order to save her. He makes a deal with Hades that says you can take her away, but only if you don't look back as you climb back up to the land of the living. And as they're walking, something causes him to look back. I think in kind of every telling, it's a different reason that he looks back of, is it him? Is it her? Is it totally an accident? Why does he look back? But the point is that he looks back and she's lost forever to the underworld.
Wow. Satine's character is based on a real person whose name was Jane Avril. She was a can-can dancer at the Moulin Rouge. If you have your notes open, I did put in this first image. This is not helpful to anybody listening, but this first image is a Toulouse-Lautrec painting of Jane Avril on a poster for the Moulin Rouge. So pretty iconic to be like the face of the Moulin Rouge at the time. Mm-hmm. And then this other one is a picture of her from like 18... And I was looking at this picture for so long because I could not figure out how her legs were doing what they were doing.
Yeah.
Her leg is so high. To listeners, her knee is basically at her chin.
Yeah.
I mean,
and she's just casually standing.
Yeah, it's high.
It's very high. She must be a short girl. Good for her.
Wow.
She was a slay. Let's talk about some fun production stuff. So casting. Christian could have been Leo DiCaprio. Okay, not surprising. Romeo plus Juliet. Could have been Heath Ledger.
Ooh.
Was not Heath Ledger because he was deemed too young, and he resented Baz Luhrmann for it so much that he refused to be part of Australia, which he was offered a role for later.
Huh.
He resented Baz for not casting him because he's saying he was too young for this role?
Baz did not cast him because he was too young. And so because of that, he resented him. And
Heath resented him.
And did not do Australia.
Wow.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
What year was this? Sorry, what year was this? This was 2001.
2001.
Did he just do... When was 10 Things I Hate About You?
It feels like 03.
Which, I mean... I love Moulin Rouge, but 10 Things I Hate About You is a superior romantic film.
10 Things I Hate About You was 99. So this is
99.
So after.
Right after.
I mean, he was...
He had just played a high schooler.
Yeah.
And Ethan Hawke. were the
interesting.
4 other people. Satine could have been Courtney Love. She auditioned and she actually gave them. There's this whole story about how because she apparently has the rights to Smells Like Teen Spirit. So she gave them the rights to use it. It's part of the Voulez-Vous section when they like get to the Moulin Rouge. It's one of the songs that's played. And it was originally recorded by Marilyn Manson, who she has apparently a very famous feud with. I was not around enough in the 90s to really know any of that information. So when she found out, she was so mad about it. Apparently there's a clause in the contract that like the original performer has approval of like how it's used in the film or whatever. So she like used the clause for them to have to re-record 6 days before the movie came out. That's the big story.
I mean, yeah, diva move, but also I kind of can't imagine knowing what the scene is. Like, why would there be a single person singing? It's like a moment when like a chorus of men are entering the scene. So why would it be one guy singing? That's kind of confusing to me what they were originally planning on. So she might have made it better.
Yeah,
maybe. Thanks, and we all say thank you, Courtney Love.
Courtney Love.
If you can't Courtney Love yourself, how in the hell are you going to Courtney Love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Toulouse could have been Rowan Atkinson or Alan Cumming.
I mean, Alan Cumming obviously would have slayed.
Alan Cumming, famous for The Traitors.
For hosting the TV show.
The Traitors.
I've never
Molly
seen
has never seen.
Nope.
Famous for Schmigadoon.
Famous for so many things.
Famous for being Alan Cumming.
Yeah, being the MC in the Broadway show.
So Miss Girl, Nicole, during the filming of this movie, she broke 2 ribs.
Wow.
And she tore her knee cartilage. And apparently multiple scenes in this movie are her acting while she's actually in a wheelchair. So anytime they're basically showing her from like the like chest up, like the scene where they're telling her like you're a real actor, the real actress scene or whatever.
Where she's like changing.
Yes. She is in a wheelchair during that scene, which is so crazy to think about.
Is that like because of unsafe filming conditions?
So one was I think the knee cartilage, she fell from the trapeze.
Oh my God.
At one point and like not broke her knee, but like injured it. And then the broken ribs, one was because of a corset. And another, I think she fell down some stairs.
Okay, so unsafe filming conditions.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah.
Wow. It's wild.
And she didn't even win the Oscar.
So this film was nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards. It was nominated for Best Picture, Best Actress for Nicole Kidman, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, Best Makeup, Best Sound. And it won Best Costume Design and Best Art Direction, which are the 2 things that I said last night while we were watching this. I was like, the costumes in this movie are so good because it's so in excess.
Yeah.
And then when we were in the elephant, I was like, it doesn't get better than this production design. It's so good. It's top notch.
Yeah.
So I am the Academy. Okay. That's the point.
So it's your fault.
It's my fault.
It's your fault. It's your fault.
And Margot Robbie will never win Best Actress for Barbie. And then
she wasn't nominated, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And she never will win for it.
I mean,
was in the Academy.
Yeah.
So here are so technically there were like 2 theaters in the country that Moulin Rouge was in for like 3 weeks before it went wide, but I did not count those. So the week I'm going to tell you is the week it went wide. It was like June 1st or whatever in 2001. That weekend, number 5 was What's the Worst That Could Happen, an MGM film I do not remember at all. Number 4 is Moulin Rouge. For that weekend, it was 13 million. The Animal was number 3 from Revolution Studios. Number 2 was Shrek.
Somebody.
And number 1 was Pearl Harbor from Walt Disney Studios motion picture.
Yep.
I did not realize that was a Walt Disney movie. That is so funny to me. I have some other stuff we'll talk about when we get to specific songs, but that's pretty much it, honestly. Okay. I feel like let's just go easy breezy, you know?
You know what? It's Valentine's Day. It's bohemian.
It's bohemian.
It's so bohemian.
So bohemian.
The 3 of us really embody the bohemian lifestyle.
Absolutely.
Really think about it.
Absolutely. Making podcasts, working job.
Yeah. Part of the grind. I think these are all
grind.
things that like the bohemian
insurance, having health insurance,
having health
401k.
insurance.
401k.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's very bohemian of us.
So bohemian.
So bohemian of us.
Molly,
Yeah.
as we start this conversation about Moulin Rouge,
We
I would love, first of all, you've been to Paris. Have you ever been to the Moulin Rouge?
not all the way. I have been in Montmartre and I've seen like the outside of it, but I haven't gone to it and like seen a show there.
Okay.
Yeah.
My second question. No, you did. Neither have we. My second question. Do you like this movie?
I think I already answered that.
Oh, yes,
I
you
will
did.
say it was interesting watching it this time because I hadn't seen it in, I mean, at least 10 years, maybe even 15 years at this point. To see it as a period piece of 2001. Like, I think we're
it's so
really
crazy.
getting to that
Yeah.
level of distance from it that you can really see it that way. I mean, yeah, it doesn't like hit you in the same way when you're not 13 years old.
Right.
But I still think it's like so joyful. And to me, this is like the best version of a jukebox musical where you really are trying to make the songs work for the plot and to reimagine like a way of them being done. Like none of the songs are performed in the same way that they're performed in the original version. They're like redone aesthetically in some way as well, which I think is really cool. I think that the performers are all having a really good time. I think it's like really visually luscious. And I think it's nice to just have movies that are just about like, you know, illogical levels of falling in love with somebody. Like sometimes we don't need it. It's kind of what Baz Luhrmann was saying about like the anti-intellectual, like it's not cool. It's not making you think or subverting your expectations. It's just like, no, we're going to take this story from like 1850 that we've all done a million times. And we're just going to like do it full out and have some fun with it. And I think that's really lovely. And my question to you, Adam, would be, why do you hate love?
It's just not for me.
Okay.
I just don't vibe with it, I think. I will talk about mine. RJ, thoughts on Moulin Rouge?
There were moments in this rewatch because I think I didn't have like, it's not that I had like fond memories of I think I always was like, everyone loves the elephant love story. Everyone loves all the scenes that happen inside her little elephant house. Yeah. Like
it's the highlight
that
of
is
that
the highlight of
sure.
the movie. From the like false Duke shenanigans to
her having an orgasm over poetry is so funny.
To the declaring of the love at the end of Elephant Love Medley.
Yes.
It's like that is the movie that I remember the most. And I'm like, if I'm ever thinking about like, did I like Moulin Rouge? Is Moulin Rouge a good movie? Well, I really like that. So it's like, and it was so powerful and like very creative and just like very well done and well executed. I think this time around, I was noticing a lot more of the things that maybe didn't like don't hold up as much, like the weird background foreground kind of CGI stuff when they're trying to zoom through like Paris. But those are like, well, I mean, how else are you going to do this? You know, like this, at least it's a creative, clear choice that we always say that like, at least if the director has a clear vision, I would much rather do that than having very like aimless direction in scenes and vision. So
it's funny to watch this movie a year after we had watched Greatest Showman. Or was it 2 years ago now?
Ooh,
I don't even know.
2 shows ago.
After watching Greatest Showman, because it's so, I mean, it's more obvious than ever that Greatest Showman was just trying to achieve like Moulin Rouge level of like excess and frivolity and like whatever, and just can't. I mean, this movie, let me talk about its achievements. It's such a singular vision. No one else can make this movie. This is a full Baz Luhrmann picture. I find the excess nauseating, but I understand. That is truly just personal taste. Like I objectively understand why people really enjoy this. I totally get it. It's not even that it's done poorly. It's just a thing that's not truly for me at all.
Yeah.
But I really respect all the technical aspects of it. I think there's so much care put into this film that's so clear. And then once I found out that he was like has an opera background, like a theater background, I was like, well, that's so obvious because only a fucking theater freak would do shit like this.
Yes. Like the cutaway jokes. Like there were some stuff that were just like really funny and wasn't afraid to just kind of go for it, like make it look goofy. And so I kind of appreciated that part of the Baz Luhrmann anecdote that Adam shared of, like you said, like why are our movies so pressed on trying to be cool when people just want to have a good time and like just watch like a love story.
I also really like, again, like as somebody watching it, not as a 13-year-old anymore. And so like not as caught up in just the love story part of it. The comedy in this is so silly.
So funny. It's funny.
It really is like low, silly, like, you know, it's not trying to be too clever with any of the comedy.
And from everyone, like everyone has a stake in it. Like Nicole Kidman does some really good physical comedy.
Oh my God. It is so funny. The scene where she thinks that he's the Duke, if this was how she acted, she would be like the worst sex worker of all time. Like the way that she cannot read the social cues of the guy she's trying to seduce is hilarious. Like, how would she be the #1 star of the Moulin Rouge if like this is her approach to trying to like figure out what somebody's into? Like that's true. I assume the #1 skill that one has if you're a sex worker
is like it's reading the other person.
Yeah, I mean the comedy in this is so obvious. It's super broad. It's referencing like those, like some of even the like way it's edited where they like speed up some of the reactions. Like it's like those
it's like
early well, it's like a TikTok now, but like it's I mean it's clearly referencing like a Charlie Chaplin kind of like physical. The one I think of is like when they're watching them like they're watching him get seduced. The other four are
they pop their heads on,
and they pop their heads out, and then they all look at each other, and they look at the other person, and they pop back, and it's all like beat, 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 beat. And the editing is clearly like they've lowered the frame rate so that it like moves really quickly.
Yeah,
I mean it's very like from that aspect, I'm like, this is great, amazing. I just like I can't connect with it at all, and that's it's truly just a personal.
You don't have to. You don't have to connect with it.
Yeah,
I don't, and I won't, and I shan't. I think that's all we needed to say. Can we listen to, we've already talked about it now, I think like 2 or 3 times at this point. We have to discuss the Elephant Love medley because I think it is
the crown jewel of the show.
It truly is. It is the necklace that she puts on, the big heart necklace.
And how much was that necklace at?
$1 million was the most expensive piece of jewelry ever custom made for a film.
Wow.
It had 1,300 diamonds in it.
Why did they need to put real diamonds on it if it was for a movie?
I don't know. That's my question. It's like the same question as like when we watched Phantom and we found out that the chandelier was like Swarovski crystals. I was like, this is a movie. It can be made of plaster. I don't care. Okay, so I just want to reference, here is the list of songs in this Elephant Love medley.
And you have to tell me if you've heard of the song before this medley.
Love is Like Oxygen by Sweet.
No.
I've never heard of this. Love is a Many Splendid Thing by the Four Aces. I have heard of this.
Heard of that.
All You Need Is Love by the Beatles, obviously, because we famously watched Across the Universe.
The only Beatles.
The only reference I know any Beatle.
Oh, yeah.
Beatle. Bailey? I Was Made for Loving You by Kiss. Yes.
Yeah.
I know that one. One More Night by Phil Collins.
Yes.
I know Phil Collins, but I don't think I know the song.
Yeah, I don't think I know it.
Can you hum it?
No. So maybe I don't know it. If that's the litmus test.
In the Name of Love by U2. Yes.
Yeah.
I know In the Name of Love.
Do I? Hum it.
No, I won't.
In the name of love.
I know, but I'm just
in the name of love.
Don't Leave Me This Way by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and later Thelma Houston.
Yes, I know the Thelma Houston. This is a disco girly.
Oh, okay. I don't know it. Silly Love Songs by Wings.
No. Not outside of the song. No.
I know that. Yeah, I know.
I feel like I know the lyrics, but I don't know the song. Up Where We Belong by Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes. Absolutely. Heroes by David Bowie. Yes. I Will Always Love You by Dolly Parton and later Whitney Houston.
Absolutely. And both perfect in their own
Both
way.
perfect in
Yes.
their own right.
Exactly.
Both perfect.
Your Song by Elton John.
Mhm.
Yes.
There you go. So we know love.
I want to say this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Also, the it took me so long to realize why it was called Elephant Love Medley. I was like,
The elephant
it's-
part or the love part?
the elephant part.
'Cause they're all
No, the
different.
medley part. I didn't.
Yeah.
No, the
The
elephant
medley
part.
is-
I guess because I remember the early times I remember watching it, it didn't stick to me that like it's a
Oh, it's
giant
in an
elephant. That
elephant.
she lived in.
Yeah.
I should have
I
looked
mean-
up if the elephant was a real part of the Moulin Rouge back in the day, because it's such a
Oh
weird.
yeah, it is a weird
specific-
detail, but there's a
specific
lot of
detail.
references to India throughout this. So
That's true.
I don't know. I also want to say that I did watch this so young though that I feel like I didn't know a lot of these were. I don't even know that I knew that any of these songs were from anything other than this movie when I
In this
first watched
song.
it. Yeah, maybe
Well,
I knew
that's-
All You Need Is Love, but that's probably it.
I think I knew I Will Always Love You and then your song. Those like as a kid when
Yeah,
when
I
first
didn't even
watched
know that was. Yeah, I didn't know your song.
That's a lot of fucking songs, and I just have to commend them that it is not a Glee mashup where you just take
No.
two songs and then shake them in
because
a box.
most of them
Yeah.
are just the titles.
And I think the smartest part of doing it this way is it's just like the one main line,
Yes.
and then they move to the next song.
Yeah.
Yep.
And in that way, I think it's like so not thematically, but like production wise, like the whole movie is so frenetic that it makes so much sense for this medley to go from song to song.
And
to
it
song
makes
to
sense.
song.
He's a poet. He's a writer. So he's just taking the iconic lines to
Right.
create
Mhm.
the love song.
Right.
And the sort of joke of the movie, the running joke is that he comes up with all of these famous lines because we
Right.
start with when he first gets pulled into the artists that he comes up with The Hills Are Alive with the Sound of Music.
Yes.
So it's
Mhm.
like we're supposed to be understanding like it's as if Christian is actually the origin of all of these things that we've heard before,
Right.
which is a fun concept.
Yeah.
Shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, I want to go back to the frenetic thing because I
Mhm.
think that the movie gets criticized for that a lot. And I feel
Yes.
like maybe you talked about this the first time around, but like it really is like the first 15 minutes that are really frenetic. And it's not even like the beginning. It's like that shot that RJ was referencing earlier where they like zoom into the Moulin Rouge and like the like first 3 minutes of like traveling through Paris and being in the Moulin Rouge that like really like
Yes.
I remember watching for the first time and like getting anxiety about like what is happening. I think that once you know the plot, so you're like not worried about like, am I going to miss something in all of this? It improves the experience a lot. But like, I think because it starts out up there, a lot of people think of the whole movie as being up
As
there,
that.
but it's not that level. It really comes down and settles in.
It kind of manifests in different ways. Like there's still like lots of like jumping from shot to shot. Like
Yeah.
even like Tango Roxanne, it like goes from blurry to clear. Like there's still
Yeah.
like that kind, but it's not the same.
There's still quick editing through the whole movie.
Sure.
It does
It
calm down,
after the
especially in terms of
can-can,
like
I would say.
especially after the can like the angles of the cameras kind of like revert back to just like being straight.
Straight.
Were you
On
my
this
father?
podcast?
So that's true. Yeah, I mean it is. I wished as we were watching it, I was like, God, I wish I had like eaten an edible or something. Cause like I just needed like a little bit of like just to relax into it a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might have been
getting stresses
panicking
me out.
more if you had taken an edible, honestly.
Yeah.
But
That's true. When it zooms through the streets of Paris and there's one like there's that one lady who like stares dead in the camera and you're like, ah!
I can picture Adam just being, she's still here, isn't
wait,
she?
okay. I also want to ask this question. I'm kind of getting us off track with the songs, but it sets us up at the beginning as like kind of a decimated Paris. And then we're like flashing back a year. And so we see that woman like down on her luck. And then she seems like she's kind of up on her luck when we're doing a year flashback, right? And the Moulin Rouge in like the framing device where Christian is writing at his typewriter about how sad he is about his tragic love story is like in disrepair. So like what happened? Is it just his perception or did the Duke like burn it down after all of these events happened? Like what is going on with like the building is like actually falling apart in a way that seems like not possible.
But the whole
They
movie,
rebuilt it. They rebuilt it for the
the whole movie is like from he is the narrator of, I mean, everything is from his This is the most true true vision of like rose-colored glasses. Like he's writing this in the present, thinking about his great time with Satine in the past. His present he feels is so terrible.
Maybe it's like if you're actually looking at it, it was the Moulin Rouge is always like in a shoddy state, but because we're jumping back into his flashback, it looks like
maybe or I think it's more likely to be the opposite. That like or somewhere in the middle of like some rose-colored glasses of the past, but also like he overly sees it as in disrepair now, just because like it's like it seems like structurally unsound in the shots of the framing device in a way that like you couldn't have people there,
a full trapeze
attending a show. Yes,
a full fly system.
Yeah,
like
I read another quote where Baz was saying like, "There's no way to shoot. We couldn't do it like how." We couldn't show like what actually would be happening in 1890 Paris because like that would still be boring by today's standards.
That's
so we had to like meet where like what contemporary audiences would think is like just as exhilarating and as exciting as to what Parisians at the time would have been feeling when they went to the Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
I also learned about what did I say they were called? Something knickers?
Split
knickers. So apparently their knickers.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah,
they were open in the middle, and it was technically it was so that you could pee easier. It was to help go to the bathroom. That was the point. But you would wear those, and then you do your little skirt.
You can,
and you.
Say, yeah, no, I understand.
Peekaroo, I see you. Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that's why people were like so mad about the can. My whole life until today, at 31 years old, I was like,
people just hate dancing.
They just don't like
dirty
legs.
Dancing.
I don't even know.
No, girl.
No, it's her vulva. Or is it uvula? No, that's in your throat.
That's in your throat.
Yeah.
Little dangly thing that swings in the back of your throat, Adam.
Oh my God, why'd you say it like that? Okay, well, shall we listen to a little bit of the Elephant Louvre medley?
All you need is love.
A girl has got to eat.
All you need is love.
She'll end up on the street.
All you need is love.
Love is just a game.
I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me.
The only way of loving me, baby, is to pay a lovely fee.
Just one night, just one night.
There's no way, 'cause you can't pay.
In the name
you can't pay.
of love. One night in the name of love.
You crazy fool. I won't give in to you.
Don't.
Great.
I want to say that the one thing that's always bothered me about the Elephant Love medley, and you paused a few lines before we got to it, is at one point she says, "You'll be mean and I'll drink all the time."
Yeah.
And at no other point in this movie does anything suggest that she has an alcohol problem. It's such a weird addition to the, like, she has many good justifications relating to like, I can't afford to like fall in love with somebody, basically. But like, it's like this weird line of like, so is she an alcoholic? Like, what? Nothing else tells us that. Why is that in there?
I mean, the only alcohol reference in this film is the absinthe.
Yeah, he's the one that drinks it.
Featuring Kylie Minogue.
Oh,
iconic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Iconic. Can I tell you, she recorded 3 songs for this film.
Nothing.
Because they didn't know which one they wanted to use for her bit.
Cameo?
So what does she sing? She sings Sound of Music, Children of the Revolution, Nature Boy. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Great. So she sings that. They had her also record Physical by Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, that would be cool.
And a Donna Summer song. I think it was on IMDb. I saw it. I don't remember which Donna Summer song, but
didn't use any of them.
Yeah, they'd only use the ones that are in the film.
Huh.
Anyway,
I always thought that was a line that's already being quoted in a lyric.
Oh, maybe it's from the original, because I don't know all these songs. So
click Heroes, because I think that's the beginning part of Heroes. And I'll drink all the time.
I guess I always thought that her spoken lines back were not from the original.
Yeah.
That was the addition for the movie.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
And you
Yeah.
can be mean, and I'll drink all the time because we're lovers,
Okay.
and that is a fact. Yes, we're lovers, and that is that.
There you go. Okay. Well, mystery solved. That explains it.
Mystery solved. We've done it. I'm gonna go out on a limb.
Oh.
And I'm gonna say the thing I said earlier. This was the hook to get him wrapped into the episode.
Okay. Returning. Okay.
So Moulin Rouge, there is a clear. This movie comes out, and it literally I would say this plus Chicago as a 1-2 punch of 2001 Moulin Rouge, 2002 Chicago, is a 1-2 punch of people realizing that you do not have to stick to the traditional way of filming a musical for it to work. And I think that changes Hollywood first, and then later ends up changing Broadway. It pushes jukebox into the realm of like real possibility, especially like with Mamma Mia being so successful on Broadway at the time. My point is this. There is a direct correlation between what this movie is doing and what Glee draws inspiration from. And if there is one cultural touchstone that made people be like, gay people are okay because Kurt got to fall in love with Blaine, it was Glee. And so because of that, I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say Moulin Rouge is the reason we have gay marriage today. And for that, thank you, Baz Luhrmann.
I think almost every part of that argument is incorrect, to be honest.
And you know what? It's so nice and refreshing to hear something so confident.
Yeah, so confidently spoken that's so wrong.
It's so wrong.
It's I'm in my 2024 bag. I'm very like
Twitter thread.
Yeah, like I'm just like speaking
Yeah.
my truth, and it doesn't matter if it is the truth because truth is subjective.
And look, as long as I'm here to fact check you, you do that.
Great.
Great.
What are your specific
take on gay
arguments?
marriage then?
Yeah, so you don't want gay people to get married? Is that what you're saying, Molly?
Yeah, I think actually all marriage should be illegal. I think it should be
I think it
abolished.
should go back to being property.
Yeah. I shouldn't be allowed to make my own decisions. I think that I don't know about the like filming musicals non-traditionally, because I don't know that Chicago is like, you mean it's non-traditional and that it's the dream sequences?
Like pastiche.
Yeah, I would say because it's so pastiche driven. There is no, I mean, I'm going to outlie Rocky Horror Picture Show because it's such an outlier. But previously, all the movie musicals that we've basically watched up until Moulin Rouge in Chicago are so still doing a very traditional golden age, and meaning golden age movie musical kind of energy of just like just shooting it very straight, normal, no kind of.
Okay, so I guess I could go with an argument of like these are a little bit more like music videos. I don't know that we can draw a straight line between that and Glee existing. I don't think that this is the first time that jukebox was a thing, and I don't know that no one would have the idea of Glee without it. And I completely and adamantly disagree that the plot line on Glee is what changed the majority of Americans' minds about gay marriage.
And I was like, okay, I hear you. You know, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Obama watched what's that movie with
The Kids Are All Right.
The Kids Are All Right, and that was what made him realize that gay people were fine or whatever.
I think he always thought gay people were fine.
No, famously Obama, this is true. This is my truth again. Famously Obama hated gay people.
This is not textually based. No. He did run. He ran with like a Defense of Marriage Act. Like that was the mainstream Democratic opinion when he first ran for president, that he was not supportive of gay marriage. But I don't think that he ever said like, I don't like gay people. I don't think that was ever.
No, I'm joking.
Okay.
No, and also had nothing to do with Obama because it was a Supreme Court decision. So really, it's not about the American public. It's about those 9 justices.
But ultimately, the justices do kind of respond to public opinion. I mean, like the court can claim that it's not always majority of public opinion, but like the court can claim that they are like purely legal scholars. But like there is absolutely an influence of political opinions of Americans.
And that's what Adam is saying. The influence was Glee. Which was then
I would say
thing to say.
I will genuinely get on this podcast today and I will say that it is not the only thing, but it was one of the largest late 2000s, early 2010s things that prominently featured like a gay basically main character that was in people's homes.
But it was being
once a week.
watched primarily by high schoolers who don't vote and weren't impacting who ended up on the Supreme Court and ended up making
I
a
disagree
Bergefell
that it was
decision.
primarily watched by high schoolers who don't vote.
I think
because,
that's insane.
Molly, there are literal ratings of this show. It can't be just high schoolers that were watching it. Most of America was watching Glee. the first, like, 2 seasons.
There's no way. There's
Okay,
no way
Glee,
that
let's go.
Glee America was
ratings
watching Glee.
2009.
How did we get here?
Is there anything
Glee.
that there's nothing on television that more than 50% of Americans watch?
That's true.
I don't even know if more than 50% of Americans watch the Super Bowl.
How do I find Nielsen ratings? What do these numbers mean? Hold on. I need to find like a ranking. Okay, hold on.
I need you to give me total population, hopefully with an age demographic breakdown would be ideal if you're going to make this argument.
Nielsen ratings. Okay. Well, right now, Bluey. Molly, Bluey is the number 2 show in America. And is that not a show for children?
It is a show that famously a lot of adults like watching.
So now adults watch shows. Interesting.
But also, no one is claiming that Bluey is making a big political shift in America in some way.
Well, you're not watching Bluey, clearly.
Click television.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was streaming numbers.
Okay.
So for the week of the January 15th to 2024,
the Chiefs and
the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills was the highest watched thing, which is very exciting for all of us.
Yeah, we love it. We're all football fans
I
here.
have no idea. How do I see? Hold on. I'm going to find this. Keep talking to RJ.
Oh, RJ, what do you think? What do you think the results are going to be? What's your speculation here, Arj?
Oh, here we go.
I don't
You're
know.
totally letting RJ wiggle out of this. He's not going to take a stance. Come on, RJ, take a stance about something for once in your life.
Jesus Christ.
You know what? I'll stand with gay marriage. I think I finally come around to it after all these years. I think I'll stand to support gay marriage. After almost being in one
brave.
for 5 years, I think
brave of you.
I think I should support it.
Also, the way you said that sentence sounds like you guys have been like engaged and like about to have a wedding for 5 years.
Yes.
You've been in one for almost 5 years, not you've almost been in one
yes,
for 5 years.
yes. Adam, give this up.
She's criticizing me.
I am.
Well, we are all
I'll
critics
continue
here,
to do
bitch.
so.
Okay, here we go. Oh, not coming soon. Jesus Christ.
Listeners, write in with whether you think that, what was it,
Glee,
Kirk and
bro.
Blaine were a significant
Pivotal.
cultural impact to the majority of Americans' opinions about gay marriage in the late 2000s.
See, Adam,
Or
this
if
is why sometimes-
Adam
This
just
is why
was a high
Entertainment
schooler at
Week
the time.
Entertainment Weekly shouldn't have died, because they would print that bitch every week and they would
Yeah.
say, here's what was number 1 this week on the television.
That's fair. I think that you
Why
are
am
very
I in
influenced by the age
1979?
demographic you happened to be in at that time, and therefore think of this show as having a bigger cultural impact than it did.
2009, I mean, was that Modern Family? No, that's later.
No, 2009. Yeah, 2009. 2009 is Modern Family. Modern Family starts.
Yeah, probably
If
more
anything-
impact than
If
Glee.
anything, I would pick Modern Family more than Glee.
It's a
because-
kind of niche thing, Adam. We just were all theater kids in high school at the time that Glee came out,
I
okay?
hate to tell you that I disagree. I hate to tell you.
We
Everyone
weren't all
knew
theater
about it.
kids.
Everyone knew about Glee.
Well, some of us were theater kids. RJ came to musicals late, as we all remember.
Yes,
Oh,
He
yeah,
likes to
yeah,
bring
yeah.
up all the
I
time.
can't- yes.
Such a late bloomer.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no evidence to back that up.
Okay, great.
But it was a good hook to get them into the episode.
was.
So
You
for
know
that,
It was, and now they're sad.
I appreciate the tale that you've spun, even if I think it's based on lies.
See, and sometimes publicity stunts are
Or scams.
Are
And we love
scams.
that. You know? Yeah.
We were told this is just seeds to plant the inevitable fake feud that we're gonna have in the show.
What, between me and Adam?
Yeah.
That's not fake. That's not fake.
That's real
They
love.
just heard it.
Girl, that's real. That's elephant love.
That's Elvin Love Medley right there.
well, let's talk about
Pastiche, frenetic. What do you want?
let's talk about frenetic. Let's keep going on this frenetic topic.
Hmm.
There is no song that is more emblematic of its
emblematic than frenetic.
emblematic of frenetic than this song that we are about to listen to.
So exciting, the audience will stop and cheer. So delighting, it will run for 50 years. So exciting, the audience will stop and cheer. So delighting, it will run for 50 years.
Elephant, Arabians, India,
And courtesans.
and duckling bears,
Carrot girl.
fire eaters, muscle men, contortionists, intrigue, danger, and romance, electric lights, machinery, all that electricity.
Okay.
It's so good.
Jesus God.
It's so good. It's so clever.
That
It's so
is a
smart.
killer song. This is original to this movie, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Lyrics.
Yes.
Oh, but
The thing is like dun, dun, dun. What is that?
It's
Yeah.
from. Sorry, it's from.
Chariots of Fire. I don't know what it's called.
No, it's from.
Oh yeah.
It's an overture of, I believe, an opera,
okay.
but I can't tell you.
There you go, boss,
this
with his
moment.
opera background.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so fun. I just feel like this time that I was just watching Nicole Kidman thinking like she's having the best time. She does not get to do stuff like this very often, you know?
No, she doesn't. That's all I was
Yeah.
watching too. I was just watching her. She's so funny.
It's Offenbach's Can.
Okay.
Oh. It's the can.
There you
It's
go.
the Can. I think by
Great. Yeah, that's about it.
I mean, it's like the play within a play within a play, because they in the song they like pitch. It's the pitch, right? That's the name of the song. So it's like they have to kind of come up on the cuff, and it's so playful. It's so fun. They turn. This is how I was like, this is the production design, because they just take things in her bedroom to make a makeshift little
Right.
theater. Like her lamps became the foot lamps, and then like her bedding became like the curtains. It was
Yeah.
so.
It's enjoyable to watch a movie that is so disinterested in engaging with any kind of realism whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like it is literally a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
There is no reality whatsoever, except for the fact that like she dies at the end and there's an attempted assassination. But
Even the assassination is kind of silly. It's her death is treated sincerely in a
Yes.
melodramatic way.
melodramatically, yes.
But yeah, a lot of it is very silly. And honestly, almost like we talked a lot about how the elephant is so good. It's almost too good, because I'm thinking about the fact that like you should remember when they actually do this show at the end, when they do Spectacular, and it is like way over the top and like amazing, the show that ends up being produced.
Mhm.
But you do not remember it as much as you remember just the inside of this elephant and these
Yes.
opulently decorated rooms and how they
And the
use
heart-
parts of
the
it.
heart
Yeah.
archway
Yeah.
of the balcony.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love watching it for truly the production design is just so good.
Yeah. I do want to say, treating this a little bit as a serious story, even though we've kind of established that we don't think it should be taken all that seriously. But the one thing that I found a little tragic as well in this watch, speaking of Spectacular, is that we set up that Satine's one real wish is to be a real actress. So her motivation throughout the movie, or at the beginning of the movie, is she wants to seduce the Duke, get his funding so that they can do a show and she can be a real actress.
Yeah.
And she like basically lets go of that idea in order to be with Christian, which is what part of what makes it so effective when she comes in and convinces him that she doesn't love him, as she says like, oh, the Duke is promising me everything I ever wanted. You know that is what she wanted, and so it like makes it more believable. But it's also kind of sad that it's like in the process of the affair, she sort of gives up on that, and then she is remembered through the story that Christian tells, in which like she exists as the object of his love, but like not really. She never gets to accomplish that dream because she dies young, and at a moment of fulfilling love, but not fulfilling any of her dreams independent of that.
I feel like if this was a script that you would try to write today, it wouldn't specify.
She'd be girl boss
That
Satine.
She'd be girl boss Satine, and then she'd be like, Kristen, I'm not interested in you either, and I'm going to go be an actress, and she would leave at the end.
She would be like, I own the Moulin Rouge.
Yeah.
I own 51% of this Moulin Rouge.
50% of this Moulin.
I feel like it would be like, it's not about being an actress, but more about like having a purpose. And I think like they would have made a connection more of the like by being by being like in love, it's that thing of like, maybe it's like being a muse, and like if you're an actress, like that's what you would want.
I mean, she wants to be an actress because she wants to escape the underworld. They have a lot of, she and Ziedler talk about like being creatures of the underworld and feeling sort of stuck. And so I think for her,
legitimize what they do.
Legitimizing ascending in social class, I think is what she wants more. That she doesn't really talk about like the fame or the artistic satisfaction of being a real actress. I think it's about sort of leaving behind the associations of the Moulin Rouge for her. But like ultimately, this is like one of many problems that I have with like pop girl boss feminism is like it's a tragedy. So she has to die at the end. So like her dreams do have to go unfulfilled for that to work.
Yeah.
And sometimes movies can be about that. Not every movie should be about, not every character in every movie that's a woman should be just about falling in love, but some of them should be.
Well, I'd love to read you this one line of in the Wikipedia page. There's an analysis section.
Yeah.
And there's a postmodern section, which is a little lengthy. And then there's a section called feminist critique. And it says, it's one sentence. It has been argued that, despite the film's postmodern stylings, Moulin Rouge is not a feminist text because the death of its female protagonist, Satine, serves as a plot device that upholds patriarchal perspectives in storytelling.
They should be more specific in that sentence. What exactly they mean.
Also, it has been argued.
It has been, we love a passive voice.
Oh, yeah. Is there a citation?
Yes, there is number 61. Let's clickety clack. Connor Bennett from 2004, page 111.
And then on the left,
what is the text? What's the title of the text?
I'm sorry, Catherine Connor Bennett is her full name.
Okay.
The Gender Politics of Death, 3 formulations of La Boheme in contemporary cinema, from the Journal of Popular Film and Television.
That sounds excellent.
Okay.
The ISS number is 1930-6458, in case you want to look it up.
Wow. If this were the old version of the podcast that I was doing when I was still a grad student, I would have read that article, but I'm going to stop promising that I'm going to go back to that because it's just not going to happen.
It's very hard to do. You have to be.
I don't have library access anymore.
Yeah,
and also I have a full-time job.
Academics gatekeep academia.
They do.
It's true.
Oh my God, Molly, we have such a crazy story to tell you about academia after pod.
Do we?
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, we do. We do.
Wow. We really hook it up, even though we're promising that we're not going to tell them the story.
You will never hear it.
It's going to be so curious. Yeah.
We'll never hear it.
I am very disinterested in things. It's
antithetical to what he's saying, right? He's like, this, it's a story. We are just here to have fun and watch a love story. Right?
Yeah,
we shouldn't.
It's a little like the Bechdel test becoming such a thing that was never truly intended to be in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
It was a comic strip that then people have given.
It was a joke, basically.
A lot of meaning. Yeah.
Andrew and I the other day were looking up whether the Bible passes the Bechdel test.
Oh.
There's like 2 lines in the book of Ruth that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because famously, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but when Mary goes to visit Elizabeth and is like, we're both pregnant. Oh my God, slay. It's about their
It's
son.
about the fetuses. I think that was why we were talking about it, because the high school is called Visitation and it's named after that passage in the Bible. I think that's how we got on the topic.
Ruth coming in clutch.
Ruth.
Yeah.
Bring Ruth back in names.
Ruth is a great name.
Bring Satine back.
I don't know. There's something about her name being Satine. Like, satin, I feel like to me is associated with like, it's not quite silk.
Oh yeah, it's like low. It's like not
low quality,
like,
right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. So there is, and I think that might be intentional of like that, because she feels like she's not legitimate yet, right? And so like I think that's there, but I would not name my child.
Well, isn't there also a fabric that is called sateen as well? Like there's satin, but then there's 2 E's, and it's like not a real.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I just thought it was because she's French, so I figured that was French version of satin. But yeah, I don't know.
Saltine. She'd tell her about saltine.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Here's another line that I read, and we should just watch this.
Okay.
The 2002 made-for-television movie It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie features a Christmas-themed parody entitled Moulin Scrooge, in which various scenes and musical numbers are reenacted by Muppets. In Moulin Scrooge, Christian is played by Kermit the Frog, Satine, named Saltine, by Miss Piggy, Toulouse-Lautrec by Gonzo, and Zidler by Fozzie Bear.
Wow.
You're not a Muppet person, though.
I'm not really. No, I didn't really watch those growing up. I mean, like, obviously I've seen Muppet movies and I'm familiar with them. My brother had a Grover growing up, a Grover stuffed animal.
Yeah.
That's Sesame?
That's Sesame.
I get some of the fringe
same.
characters confused sometimes. Yeah.
It's funny that you say Grover's a fringe character because he basically was Elmo pre-Elmo. He was like the main star of Sesame, and then they brought in Elmo. And
A younger.
Totally. Yeah. Well,
Elmo,
we
who
called
was
him.
just attacked on the Today Show. Did you see that?
No.
Larry David was
Larry
also on the Today Show, and Elmo was there, and he went over and like punched Elmo, and it was like a very stupid, like very ironically a Curb Your Enthusiasm bit, where then they later like made him apologize on camera to Elmo, and Elmo was like, "Elmo accepts your apology, Larry." So funny. Elmo accepts your apology.
So dumb. Okay, I just was gonna say we called his Grover Super Grover, and now my nephew has it. So he gave his Grover to
so
his son. It's really
sweet. I
cute.
love Super Grover.
Grover is my favorite like childhood book I remember growing up.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a monster at the end of this book.
Oh right, yeah.
It's great.
Iconic.
Meta.
Yeah.
Teaching children about meta commentary.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of meta, let's go back to this film.
Okay. What would you like to talk about?
What's our list of songs again?
Let's do Satine. Yeah, let's.
We've got Diamonds,
because I want to listen to
Roxanne, Come What May.
All right, well, let's rewind back to the beginning of the film and do Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend.
A kiss on the hand may be quite continental, but diamonds are a girl's best friend. A kiss may be grand, but it won't pay the rental on your humble flats or help you feed your pussycat. Men grow cold as girls grow old, and we all lose our charms in the end. But square cut or pear shape, these rocks don't lose their shape. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. Tiffany.
This is the most perfect introduction of a character in all of
I totally agree. It's so good. She is so good in this. Her voice sounds like exactly what this character needs. Do you know what I mean?
It's so funny to me because this is already a song from a movie musical,
Mhm.
and it is so iconic in the film in which it is so. It would be so daunting to be like, okay, now you're gonna follow Marilyn Monroe doing this song
Mhm.
Yeah.
in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and then just like it's not even like it's like she like doesn't even pay it any mind and is just like doing. She's making it her own, but it's not like she's like a signature style. She's just like it's so good. It's so good. The way everyone is just like completely still when the song starts. Ugh. I mean, there's so much about this that I'm like, these decisions are all like correct. Like they shouldn't have been done any other way.
Yeah.
And on the whole is what I'm like. And then it's just a lot for me.
Also, her costume, the silver diamond, because she is the diamond and she's covered in diamonds and she's thinking about diamonds and
she gets a diamond necklace.
Diamond necklace.
It's so perfect. It's such a perfect song choice for
Little top hat.
the little top hat, the little androgyny moment.
Yeah, the little clearly a Marlene Dietrich reference.
Yeah.
And this like ruby red hair.
Yes.
The wig.
The wig.
The wigs of it all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, Adam, that you are just like turned off by the excess of it because like I have a very minimalist style overall. Like my space is very minimalist. I feel like the way that I dress is like not ostentatious or whatever. I'm like not into the Gen Z maximalist thing right now.
No, yes, it's coming back. Yeah.
But it totally works for me in a movie. Like this is where I want my maximalism to happen. And
Well, you're not going to like that I want to bring it up, but we do have to reckon with the fact that this movie came out pre 9/11.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
And I think it's funny that, so this movie comes out June of 2001, and it is in theaters until March of 2002.
Mm.
And it is very interesting to me that has the staying power. And part of it is because I think it is a movie that, in the way that I think similarly, like Shrek was, not that I'm saying they're similar movies at all, but like in a way that it's just so escapist. It was almost like the perfect thing to be like, I need to get out of this world and go to see a movie. I mean, this is like pure, like those movies that came out in the 1940s during like World War II, when it was just like capers and like swashbuckling nonsense, because like no one could handle that their sons were dying in like Europe and Japan.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was like, it is very interesting that 9/11 happening did not cause people to stop seeing it. It almost was like, and then it gave it another wave of people being like, I gotta get out of here.
I have to. Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I wanted to say about 9/11.
Okay.
Thank you for letting me talk about it.
If it's not
Special interest in 9/11.
If it's not 9/11, it's the Obama administration.
Yeah, it's Obama.
And you've already done it too.
Yeah.
So Adam's clocked out for today.
Have a great night, guys. Finish up.
I think because I also said that too, of like the maximalism, it works in these like more like intentional songs, like obviously in the Elephant Love medley. I mean, even in the Tinkerbell, the absinthe like scene, it's like exactly what I would want from people having, like, someone having absinthe for the first time. It's exactly what I want it to be. Even when it comes to like the more serious songs later, they're still,
I mean, I think genuinely, like, we're not going to listen to it today, but I think Like a Virgin is so funny.
So funny.
It's so funny.
It's so fun. It's so over the top. It's like truly changing this how the song sounds in completion to like make it like an operatic, like, it's so funny.
Do you know what else is hilarious about that I learned? So I was appreciating how great the performance is of the Duke in this when I was watching it. I was looking up other things that this actor had done, and I guess he was famous for he played Dracula in Van Helsing. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's why there's like a very clear vampire like move in this. And I was like, oh, they're like doing homage to that. But he did that in 2004.
Yeah.
So they didn't know when they made this that he was like his next big
one
movie
day
role was going to be Dracula.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so clever.
Adam, it took Adam like 3-4 scenes in to realize that was Professor Slughorn. So
yeah, I was like, who is this? And then I clicked his name and I was like, oh girl, hello.
Yule Ball.
I will say, I mean, like, genuinely, right? The Duke's a shitty character, right? Like, he's the antagonist, he's the villain, he's so over the top. This performance is so like mustache twirling, very like
tie Satine on a railroad tracks, like,
tying Satine to railroad tracks, a little like fop as well, like a little like.
Quite.
The accent is just a little overdone.
The way that he talks is so brilliant in how off-putting it is, because he's a pretty attractive guy, and like so much of the work of you not liking him comes from how weird his voice is. And also like obviously the way he's approaching her and trying to possess everything, and then he assaults her and all that stuff. But the voice is doing most of the work.
Yeah, it's good. Everyone in this is like so well cast. Like, it's such a good. I was gonna say it's an ensemble piece, but it's not. It's really not. It is like just like kind of the two of them. But everyone who is cast in this is so good. John Leguizamo is so funny, even though it's like, again, like super over the top, but you can't not be over the top in this.
Right.
You really can't.
We should say maybe today, if we were casting it, we would put a person with a disability in that role, because but Toulouse-Lautrec was...
Why? Because Miss fucking... what was Greatest Showman didn't? I mean, I guess they did cast a little person, but they made him littler.
Yes. Toulouse-Lautrec, I guess, was 5'8", and he was short because he broke his legs as a child and they like didn't heal properly. So he didn't have like a developmental disability, but he like was, you know, disabled in a way. And so I think probably you would want to be a little bit more thoughtful about it. But taking that part out of the equation, John Leguizamo absolutely kills it in this role.
I mean, genuinely, the only real issue I have like with optics in this movie is that there is... Can we say it? Can we talk about it?
I don't know what you're.
There's the one black guy who like works at the Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
And he's the one who catches Satine when she falls, which is so iconic to fall from that height and be caught.
Yes.
But then he's
he
the
has
one
line in this film, and it's I mean, it's whatever, but it's just he's in so many scenes where he's like referenced that I was like, weird.
Oh, he not only.
Yeah,
I think you're going to say this, RJ.
Yes, he's the one who ends up saving Satine.
Yeah.
From having to sleep with the Duke. He punches the Duke and then brings.
Yeah, she's about to be raped.
Yeah, and then brings her. He's the one that brings Satine to Christian, and basically it's like, then now we have to hide you because he's gonna kill you because you were the one that punched the Duke.
I think. Oh. Wait, are they saying that this character? We don't even know this character.
Well, they want to kill Christian. Yes,
they want to kill Christian. I don't think that they say anything about this other guy being in danger.
But he's the one who punches the Duke. I don't know. It just felt like like the one.
No, I think in fact it's that they like forget that he could be like. I think that they're like totally ignoring that he has potentially put himself at risk at all. I actually want to talk about the very backgroundness of queer characters in general because I also read this character as gay.
Yes, Molly. The entire time we were watching it, I was like, it's a gay movie, but I don't see gay.
So I mean, like, I think that the reason primarily I'm seeing this character as coded as gay is like that he is this like savior figure, but there's never any implication that he's in love with Satine, and that would be why.
Or just like protect, like watching out for each other.
This just like protector gay in the background, and then also like Audrey is the name of the character who was originally writing Spectacular and then like stormed off.
Yes.
Right. And I think it's supposed to be a trans woman is kind of how I'm interpreting it. So I feel like, and then there's like obviously shots in the Moulin Rouge of like men dancing together. And there's like this like little implication of like homosexuality is one of the things that people do here. And so like, I think there's a really interesting, again,
he does catch her. He's the one in the dress. Or like a halter top.
He's in like a halter top with like pants. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like this is one of the ways that it felt kind of 2001, that it's like bohemian lifestyle includes that there are like gay people around, but we can't linger on that.
It's not about gay people.
It's not about gay people. And it's not even like is the main couple not queer, but like they can't even be like full character. They just have to be like around and like visible enough that you get it. But like, we're not going to like let them talk. Like that's sort of the feel.
So do you not read John Leguizamo's performance as gay?
Potential. What's Toulouse Lautrec gay? Is that something that we know about
I don't know. I can
the
look
real
it up.
person? I mean,
that's what I was curious because I was like, I don't know does he love Christian? Like there was a sense of like wanting to
like yearning for Christian.
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, I think that he is doing a very like silly thing that I almost can't read the character as like actually capable of falling in love with anyone because he's like
it's
such a caricature.
Yeah. But he's crying at the end of Elephant Love Medley.
He was not gay, as far as I can tell.
The real Toulouse Lautrec. Okay.
Oh, he what?
What?
He was 5'8", or was he 4'8"?
He was 4'8", I thought.
Oh, you said 5'8" earlier.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to say 4'8".
No, it's okay. His picture's so cute on his little Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
But he was crying at the balcony at the end of the Elephant Love Medley when they pan back to him. So at that moment, I felt like, okay, it's like this feeling of like wanting to have more is like apparent in
everyone. I guess I read that as like because he says something about like earlier when he first meets Christian, he's like, I believe so much in love even though I've never had it. And so I guess I was reading that as like, I'm so sad that I am not experiencing this, but not because I like love Christian, but just like I've never had this with anyone. But maybe I'm just like, every once in a while, you just miss those things.
Glaze over,
Have a compulsory heterosexuality lens when you're watching things.
Yeah, I think it's I do. I'm curious if what they did to the musical, because there is a Broadway adaptation that opened in 2018, and I'm curious if they added anything to it in that regard. I know the songs are completely different, which I think is crazy.
Well, could they not get the rights to perform
probably
songs?
But like why does she sing, why does Satine sing Firework by Katy Perry?
Oh, so it's still a jukebox musical, but different songs that are being
songs. Yeah.
Oh, huh.
I don't know about Katy Perry. I don't know. It's tough
I do
for me.
love Firework though. That's a good song.
Sure,
So
it's a
I'm
great
not gonna judge.
Did we say Katy Perry was one of our jukebox nominees?
She said we were like in like 20 years. It's gonna be like somebody's gonna do Katy. She's gonna have the discography to make a. You can make a like story.
Yeah, I'm changing my mind. I think it's Kelly. I think Kelly Clarkson has the discography. That could be a really great.
We're gonna go back to a conversation from our original Mamma Mia episode
because she has so many she's done so many genres. Like it's pop rock, pop country. Like like there's a variety in there that could be fun.
I don't know if she has enough big hits to like have the really exciting 11 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Kelly stands.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember, it was actually. There's a direct pipeline from Moulin Rouge to Kelly Clarkson to gay marriage.
You absolute cad.
you swine.
I couldn't think of a better. That one's not really fitting of an insult, but I couldn't think of anything else in the moment.
Well, should we talk about the very hetero character of this film? Should we talk about Ewan McGregor? Christian.
He's the most. I mean, talk about names with significance. He's literally Christian.
Hello.
We know a lot about his background from that. Yeah.
Hello.
Let's talk about Tango Roxanne because I do really like it. I think it's such a unique, original take.
Yes. Jealousy.
So it's great.
Will drive you mad. Roxanne, you don't have to put on that red light. Walk the streets for money. You don't care if it's wrong or if it is right. Roxanne, you don't have to wear that dress tonight. Roxanne, you don't have to sell your body to the night.
I think it's so smart to use this part of the movie where they're telling you the story, like this is why you don't fall in love with a courtesan by doing this dance. But then it's literally Roxanne, which is a song about falling in love with a sex worker.
Yeah.
And it's just like you feel like it was always written that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's almost like it's like too good of an opportunity that if they hadn't got the rights to it, I would be so mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because to then make it a tango.
Yeah.
Which is funny that like two things that came out within like a 10-year span that are both referencing or drawing inspiration from La Boheme both have like tangos in it. Tango Maureen and Tango Roxanne is funny to me.
Yeah.
It's just so it is like it's working on so many levels, and that's why I'm not gonna give like Greatest Showman a pass just because like it's like fun, because I'm like but there's no thought, like there's so much thought put into every detail of this movie.
Yeah,
it's like such a specific artistic vision that even like Across the Universe, which I think is probably the closest of all the things we've watched that are clearly like influenced by Moulin Rouge, like it still doesn't have this level of like specificity in like even its minute details that are so good.
Yeah. It's such a good choice. I love the dance of the scene. And maybe this is like me having TikTok brain, but like I sometimes or often really will zone out during like long dance scenes, and like this one really keeps my attention, but maybe it's just the quick cuts. I don't know. But it's such a perfect juxtaposition too of like seeing her in the tower with the Duke and then the dancers, and the way that like the Argentinian starts it, but Ewan McGregor starts to sing along and then takes on the second verse. Like I just think it's so perfectly put together as like a dramatic piece as well. But we have to talk about the woman who is Roxanne in this, because what's her deal? Why is she such a hater?
First of all, she literally like rats on.
She rats on them for no reason. We never learn what her deal is. And I watch it and I'm like, okay, I would be so mad at Satine too if she was risking everything in this way. But like, does she know that this guy has the deeds to the Moulin Rouge? Because like your job is also on the line here. Like I would be mad at Satine, but I would do everything that I could to also hide the affair because it's also in my best interest for him to not find out about it.
But she literally goes
she
up
just
and
like
be
comes
like,
up and is like, oh shit, she's gonna choose the writer. Oh, sorry, sitar player.
I mean, it's hilarious that it takes this for the Duke to figure this out.
So
The fact that he
stupid.
hasn't figured it out yet is the funniest thing I've ever seen. They're doing a play that's about a courtesan loving somebody who's not the rich guy who's coming in to try to court her.
Mm-hmm.
And he is not getting it until somebody is like, the sitar player really reminds me of a real guy in
this
front of
room.
you.
the guy right there, bitch. It's
But I mean, that's probably the weakest aspect of this movie is just like you don't understand why she does it. And it doesn't even really give her like, you could just toss a bone out to be like, oh, maybe she thinks like Christian's hot or whatever. So she wants Christian for herself. They don't even give her that. They don't give her any reasoning other than she just wants to start mess. And you know what? Sometimes people just want to start
That's
mess.
true. There are people like that in the world.
and you know what? Representation does matter.
Representation matters. I feel like I always interpret it as like she's jealous of Satine. She like feels like she's second fiddle. That's my headcanon about why she does it. But like, we really don't know anything about
I guess
this.
it's weird because I didn't know how many people knew she was like dying. Because I was
I think Mary.
Very few. Yeah, Mary, I guess is the name of that woman.
Miss Mary.
Mary.
And then Ziedler. I think it's just those two that know.
Okay.
And then like, I guess the doctor. Yeah.
Also, it took me so long to realize. So I was looking it up because I was like, Ziedler is just clearly referencing
Ziegfeld
Follies, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then it isn't. So the original owner of the Moulin Rouge was named Charles Ziedler. So it's actually just referencing.
You just actually have to have a Z name in order to be a purveyor of pretty women. Yeah.
And Zsa Zsa Gabor played Jane Avril in the Moulin Rouge film from 1952.
Wow.
So it's another Z name.
Wow. If we were like spiritualists, we'd start to like act like this had some sort of cosmic significance or something.
like all of this.
And Emile Zola wrote Nana.
Like all of this is connected to bringing gay marriage to America. Kind of that feeling.
Yeah, that kind of feeling.
And when Emile Zola wrote Nana, I think that really set us on the track to get gay marriage in America.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this girl's a hater, but all this to say that Ewan McGregor, who just played Obi-Wan Kenobi.
He's in the middle of Obi-Wan. He goes. So this movie, first of all, this movie is filmed in Australia. It's filmed in the Fox Studios lot in Australia. There's none of this movie is shot in Paris, obviously. So I think it's very funny that like people just have this thing about Paris where like Paris isn't even a real place. Paris is like heaven. Like it's not even like, it's just like a mythical. It's Mount Olympus. Like it's not real in any way whatsoever. Yeah. So I think that's funny. But then so this movie probably because of all these fucking injuries that Nicole kept suffering. Yeah. They went over schedule, and then Phantom Menace, which is the episode 2, was also shooting at the Fox lot in Australia.
Right, the Phantom Menace is episode 2.
Episode 1 is episode 1 is Phantom Menace. Episode 2 is Attack of the Clones. So episode 2 is
yeah.
So he was going to go straight into shooting that, and they had to do pickup shots in Madrid, which is also crazy to me.
Yeah. The craziest part for me is that I think I maybe saw some of Phantom Menace as a child, but whatever. I've never like actually sat down and watched Star Wars before, so I've been watching them with Andrew, and the day after rewatching Moulin Rouge, then we watched Phantom Menace together. So I had a real roller coaster of emotions about Ewan McGregor.
I remember watching these two, and then I watched his movie Down with Love with Renee Zellweger, and I thought he was so good in that. I was a huge fan.
He's Young Pope, isn't he? Or is that Jude Law?
No, that's Jude Law.
That's Jude Law. He's going to be the gentleman of A Gentleman in Moscow. Apparently, they're making a limited series of that. That's a book that I really like, and I'm really excited that he's going to be I think it's Count is the honorific of that character.
I think it's the Duke.
I don't think it is the Duke. It's been a while since I read the book, but I've already watched it.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor's hot in this. I mean, there's not really anything else to say. And I like, this is another one where I don't want them to have perfect voices. Like I like that it's they're genuinely good. They're very good singers, but they're good singers. They're not great singers, which I think makes it feel more real. Yeah, which is nice. Even though this movie isn't real, There has to be some type of something that I can like cling to be like,
Yeah.
Okay, thank God.
He was 30 years old when they made this. I was thinking about this when you're talking about was Heath Ledger too young
The age
thing.
thing.
And Nicole Kidman was 33. And Margot Robbie was 33 when she played Barbie. And so I have a new theory, which is that women are at peak hotness at 33 years old.
And how old are you, Molly?
I'm 32. It's almost my time.
It's almost my time, and you bitches will.
You gotta start working on it. Get ready, girl.
Oh, the girls will not be ready.
When's men's peak hotness?
Death.
Corpse.
Sorry, I'm trying to remember a time when I thought a man was hot. I'm not sure.
Let me get back to you on that.
Yeah, I'll get back to you. I gotta look at some Nielsen ratings and get back to you on that.
I think men are hot when they're fictional. And
yes, that's the number one trait.
When they're the count or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this ending.
Okay.
Because she drops dead.
She does.
And it's not because of that, it's not a feminist piece, as we've already said. What?
It's not feminist to die.
No, women can't die.
Every time a woman dies, it lets down the movement. That's what the second wave was about.
Yes, that was the part I missed. Oh my God, thank you. The lore of the second wave feminism on this podcast, the fact that it's referenced multiple times, people will come in and be like, what the fuck is this joke? This isn't even funny. Okay. The ending of this film, the play within a play, the attempt to assassinate, there's a lot going on. There is a weird, I think Baz in this movie specifically is not concerned at all with pacing. I don't think he even finds it as something that he needs to address in any way whatsoever. And I think it is almost like commendable that he's just like, I'm not interested. Like if he's not interested in it, he's just not going to do it. Like it's not, he is not like a studied film director where it's like, I went to UCLA and I da-da-da.
Yes,
like he's just like, I make what I want to make. And if you don't like it, bitch, LOL.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of intense and cool. After the
Roxanne Tango.
Okay. See, I disagree. I think it's like when Zidler discovers that they are together because he sees them like kissing
the sitar player.
When he's, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, when they're up in the balcony.
When they're up in the balcony.
Yep.
That is where the movie drops off a cliff and then it is so slow until we get to the end. And it's so weird because the first half of the movie is so incredibly fast paced. Even though it's not doing all of the crazy stuff it's doing, the can sequence, obviously, there is still a breakneck speed at which we are telling this story through like the first, I would say, hour of the film is like, and then we have to slow down because we have to get into the melodrama of it. And I understand that completely, but it's such a jarring, like, it's like if somebody slams on the brakes and then you like hit your head on the dashboard. That's how I feel about this movie.
I guess I can see your point.
But then we return to exciting times because it's the finale performance and
there's shenanigans happening. Christian is trying to run in, so the lackey is trying to shoot him. And
there's a gun being kicked around the stage.
Toulouse is trying to like save the show or whatever. Mm-hmm. And this entire time, she's about to drop dead at any second.
Oh yeah, that's telegraphed from like minute 14 of this film that she is not going to make it.
Yeah.
Well,
they put that drop of blood on that handkerchief quick, honey.
I mean, but they do sort of like the way that they create tension in the scene with the gun is that you're like, is it the consumption that's going to get her or the gun first? Like you're not sure which one is going to actually enter. Yeah.
The gun is so not focused that you don't know if it's going to take someone out.
Right.
It might be her. It really leads you to think that it's going to accidentally shoot her.
It seems like that's they're setting up because it's so frenetic and it being kicked around. It feels like it's setting up for someone gets shot who's not the person that was supposed to get shot. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is again rules that Baz Luhrmann doesn't employ. Wait, something does get shot though, doesn't it? The gun does go off, doesn't it?
No, the gun flies off and hits the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, that's right. So he flies in the face of Chekhov's gun.
He does.
He says,
he's not interested.
He's not interested. Chekhov. It's kind of hot that he does that. It doesn't. Say.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I don't feel like the gun was introduced in the first act, to be fair. It's a little bit later. But yeah, it seems like the stronger choice in a way to have her shot instead of dying immediately of consumption. But like he just goes for it and is just like, nope, just that TB got her right then.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that goes back to his whole thing of being like, well, he's not trying to subvert anything. I mean, this movie is subversive in many ways because of like how it's kind of like crafted, I would say, more than necessarily its storyline.
Yeah.
But like, he's not interested in being like, and then I'm really going to shock the audience. Like, he's like, no, from the minute this movie starts that they are not going to end up together.
That's true.
Because he starts it by being like, this man is
my tragedy.
Depressed.
Yeah. I should also say with the consumption thing that I looked a little bit into it and the various Marguerite and Violetta, like different names that this character has had, that there's some debate about whether consumption was also used as a euphemism for syphilis. And so does the character die of tuberculosis or syphilis in various versions? We don't know. It's an Orpheus and Eurydice situation. We're not sure in various versions. Yeah.
Also, like, how does one... Because
syphilis.
She's kissing people in this film. So I was like, how do people get tuberculosis?
I believe it's close contact with somebody for a sustained amount of time.
So it definitely feels like Christian should have tuberculosis.
Yeah, I don't know all the rules. Yeah. Good point. I don't
know. So anyway, they get to this weird... This is the only thing whatever. One of the weird things about this movie is that he goes on this like really weird monologue about how he's like paying her for her services.
Yeah.
Which I think is maybe it's only because it's 2024 that I kind of cringe at it a little bit.
But I think this is kind of the thing that's been in all the versions of Camille. Is the scene of she convinces him for his own good in some way. I never loved you. And then he does the like, I'm paying for my whore thing.
Yeah. So he does that, and then in order to get him back, she sings the song that they basically co-wrote together. They have co-writing song credit on this song, and it's called Come What May.
Come what may. Come what may. Come what may, I will love you until my
It's good. Yeah, it's a good ending. I mean, there's not really anything else to say,
I
really.
feel like I thought you didn't like this song, was my recollection from the first pod that you did about it.
Oh, really? Is that what I said?
I thought that I was like waiting for you to be setting this up for.
No, the only thing I was going to set up is that I just found out, because I don't think I talked about this in the first one, but now I don't know what I talked about anymore. Is that this is an original song. Mm-hmm. Notice it was not nominated for anything because it was originally written for Romeo plus Juliet, and then they didn't use it for the film. So because it wasn't expressly original for this, they couldn't nominate it. But I feel like it probably would have won if it had been able to. Right? I don't know what was up for that year.
Yeah.
But
right.
I feel like this was such a huge hit.
Yes.
Yeah. If I didn't have you in Monsters Inc. Other songs: Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, May it be in the Lord. Okay. May it be.
Oh, okay.
There you'll be in Pearl Harbor, Until, in Kate and Leopold.
Which I watched that movie. I had that on video, and I remember watching it and being like,
and Vanilla Sky from Vanilla Sky.
I've never seen Vanilla Sky or Kate and Leopold, for that matter. Or Pearl Harbor. I've never seen most of these.
Pearl Harbor's bad.
I've heard that. Yeah. Kate and Leopold, I should watch though.
It's fun.
Kate
and
Leopold is fun. It's Hugh.
Because it's
it's Hugh and Meg, right?
Yeah, and it's a time travel. Rom-com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vanilla Sky is like more drama.
Drama.
Yeah.
Tom Cruise drama.
I think Come Away is a great song. Obviously, I loved it when I was a young person and in love with love. And I think it's just a straightforward, simple, good love song.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
He really did sound great in the song. I mean,
He
like,
does.
in the movie, like he has a shockingly upper register that you like don't realize until it like comes out, and you're like, oh, he's got pipes.
Yeah. It's also, his voice is so, it's just enough
so
of a
pure.
stretch that it feels like not that he's straining for it, but it doesn't feel like it's coming easy, which also makes it's giving that like more like
yearning.
Yes, the yearning energy.
romantically.
Yeah. It's evocative.
Yeah.
Well, what else is there to say
Le Moulin Rouge.
about the Le Moulin Rouge? Great performances, great songs.
So, yeah, how far do you think you came around in the second watching?
No, I did not enjoy watching
Okay,
this.
gotcha.
There are aspects that I was like, oh, I can enjoy this. And then like, I truly couldn't watch the screen the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
It was very hard for me.
I'm so curious if you had watched it when you were younger, if it would have made a difference.
You should have recorded me when it started, because that first...
I took a picture.
Oh, you took a picture. When it first started, I was like on the couch and I was like... I was doing the like... in Mrs. Doubtfire when he says, I did a great impression of a hot dog.
Yeah.
I'm sending it to the group chat right now.
Okay,
but
thank you.
He's just sitting there.
Yeah.
Really bracing himself. Friedrich and all the pillows tucked around him. Just like,
I had to
you're not
become
going
comfy
anywhere.
cozy. Well, let's move on. Okay, so this is crazy to me. Let's talk about criticism of this film. This movie on Rotten Tomatoes has a 75%, but is certified fresh, which I think is the lowest score I've ever seen while simultaneously being certified fresh, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And it really bears out when you go and you look through the critics' reviews, because half of, like, not a half of it, obviously, but there is a large percentage of them that are like, I do not like this. So I think it was like very... polarizing for critics.
Again, it means they really went for it.
Yeah, totally.
Strong reactions. Yeah.
Roger Ebert from the Chicago Sun-Times writes, the movie is all color and music, sound and motion, kinetic energy, broad strokes, operatic excess. While it might be most convenient to see it from the beginning, it hardly makes any difference. Walk in at any moment and you'll quickly know who is good and who is bad, who is in love and why. And then all the rest is song, dance, spectacular production numbers, protestations of love, exhalations of regret, vows of revenge, and grand destructive gestures. It's like being trapped on an elevator with the circus. And he, in his review, loved this film. I think he gave it 4 out of 4 stars. Wow. This is from Kirk on the opposite side of the spectrum. This is from Kirk Honeycutt of The Hollywood Reporter. He says, Luhrmann, who seeks to wow you with every scene and indeed every shot, pays scant attention to his plot, a deliberate mishmash by himself and Craig Pearce of cliches and stereotypes. John O'Connell's choreography gets lost by cameras reeling from motion sickness, just as the characters get smothered in caricature and almost buffoonish acting. Later, he says, only one thing would have saved Moulin Rouge, a sense of romance, a belief in the overpowering nature of love in a sordid, thrill-seeking world. But Luhrmann takes no time to establish such a mood.
What?
He has constructed a monument to artifice, and anything real or emotional would only get in the way.
This represents what I felt like Baz was trying to be like. Why 100%. Are people so bogged down with like this and that when we're just trying to? It's fun. It's interesting that he took it as a negative that they were like acting so like quote unquote buffoonish.
Yeah.
When it's like, that's the point.
I guess I guess maybe he's trying to make an argument of like, yes, they explicitly say this is about love, but like they're not really taking their time to like fully. But like, I disagree. Like, they have great chemistry. They're singing love songs to each other. Like, what is it you want? What's the additional thing you're looking for? I guess, yes, they would have to make it more believable. They'd have to introduce more realism to the film, but that's not what they're doing.
That's not what they're doing.
Right.
Also, the entirety, we didn't talk about this, but in the entirety of Elf and Love Medley, at the start, they're not in love, and at the end, they are. And the fact that one sequence does that, that's like, that's the point, you know. That's what love is.
And then this is from the Chicago
newspaper clip.
This is a scan of a newspaper. This is Michael Wilmington of the Chicago Tribune. He says, it's both hip and corny, old-fashioned, and postmodern, a dizzying pop collage where almost everything is purposefully pitched too high, too fast, too feverishly intense. But the gaudy excesses all work. By the climax, the film comes together and soars. Truth, beauty, freedom, and love is the credo of Lautrec's bohemians who race through the movie like the Marx Brothers on a tear. But it's also Luhrmann's credo. He's able to find his lovers slightly ridiculous, as when perched on top of Satine's elephant-shaped hideaway, they burst into a fervent, crazy pop medley of hit songs about love. But he's also able to cheer for them, weep with them. I haven't enjoyed a musical this much since Cabaret. Love it or hate it, Moulin Rouge is a movie you won't forget, a song that won't get out of your head. I think that's someone who like got what he was like trying to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And then on Letterboxd, this movie has 3.7 stars. The paper. I got 5 little quotes here.
Okay.
So Demi Adejuigbe, I'm so sorry, I definitely botched that, said, it is insane how relentlessly horny movies were right before 9/11. My man Baz directed this thing like the Tasmanian devil on Cialis.
Where do people come up with this? Oh my God.
It's incredible.
Incredible.
Danny LeBlanc gave it 4.5 stars and said the storyboard for this film must have caused motion sickness. Tim Kopp gave it 1 star and said Baz Luhrmann is the only director in Hollywood with the courage to answer the question, what if Fellini sucked?
Wow, that's good showcase more too. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah Clements gave it 5 stars and said, bitch, I'm crying over heterosexuals? What the fuck?
I love that Gen Z are discovering this movie.
Yeah. And then Penny Lane gave it 5 stars and said, this film was made for bisexuals.
Yeah.
And I do think we have a strong contender
for bisexual.
Already for bisexual couple of the year.
Yeah. I think that we have to make sure that the bisexual couple, it has to include some same-sex couples too, or else it's just gonna be hot straights otherwise. So let's be aware of that this year.
Are we reclaiming straights as actually just bisexual?
We're just calling all straight people bisexuals from now on.
Straight people are the persecuted majority when you really think about it.
Oh my God.
Okay. I'm going to let Molly go first because she was the one
This movie was your MVP.
This movie was your MVP. So
yes, it was my pick for rewatching.
Who do you think? Who's your MVP?
I think Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
I think for being lovable, for having the perfect vocal range, as we discussed, perfect vocal ability for it. And I think, I mean, maybe it's just that I am still a little in love with his character because of the whole watching it at 13 thing, but like a very boring character in many ways, right?
On
like
paper.
Is the ultimate just like blank thing for more interesting characters to exist around, but is compelling even in that. Yeah. So I think I'm going to give it to Ewan.
And he's so game to still play along with everybody
in the
else.
Goofy part.
Yeah. He's really good in this. It's kind of crazy to me that I don't know who else was nominated that year, but it is kind of crazy to me that he wasn't nominated. I'm sure he was nominated for the Globe. I didn't look at that, but he's really good in this. Yeah. It does make sense why Nicole's nominated for this. It's such a star vehicle for her. Yeah. Even though she already is like a known entity, right? Obviously. RJ, you wanted to do this too.
Yes, to watch you suffer. I'll pick Nicole. Nicole Kidman, also another transcendent performance. Like, for such a caricature to feel like this is a real person is such a feat. And she is both star and actress. She has both the star power and like true acting talent to make you like fall in love with this character. Everyone is in love with her, but then also like the audiences are in love with her, and she's like Nicole Kidman is truly one of the greats. Like truly, I went through a gay. I mean, I still am in my gay actress phase, but like Nicole is like one of.
You had a Nicole themed party once.
I did have a Nicole Kidman themed not birthday. It was just a party.
Just a party.
And I went as Stepford Wives before the transformation. So at the start where she's wearing all black.
Wow. Heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
Heartbreak
feels good.
Like, still making star moves.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I'm really torn who I want to pick.
Yeah.
Just say his name. Just now that you know that he's just a theater boy at heart, you know you want to pick him.
It has to be Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
Because like I've already said it twice on this podcast. It is such a singular, specific vision. It's so hard to do this. It's not this. It doesn't look easy. None of this movie looks easy. It doesn't look like it was a cakewalk or a walk in the park or anything like that. But it's so confidently done that you just, even if you don't like, I'm not a fan of this film, but I have to admire just how much it's just like, this is just what I do.
Yeah.
And he has his own style. It's very cool that there are auteurs like this who are, it's like there are people who do not like Wes Anderson films. I'm not one of those people, but there are definitely people who are like, it's just not for me. But it's cool that these people exist and are allowed to like still make movies, even in an era where we're trying to like, I think some studios are trying to get away from auteur directors. But.
Yes. Like you have to direct for the masses, but you can still direct a singular vision. Like
you can still direct a singular vision. This movie made $150 million. Like, it's not like it walked away penniless. Like the people saw this movie. People loved this movie. People still talk about this fucking movie. It's on like many lists as one of the greatest films in like the top 100 greatest films of the 20th century or the past 100 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's not okay. Anyway, Molly, what's your closer?
I can do my closer. I do keep forgetting that we have a mailbag. Do you want me to do that now, or should we could record it after the closer and edit it into the beginning?
Yeah, let's do it after the closer.
Okay, great. I'm going to go for an oldie but a goodie, which is if we were remaking this movie, because I think 2001 we're kind of due.
Yeah.
Who are we casting as Satine and Christian?
should we cast?
I feel like it should be Margot Robbie. I know I'm going to sound crazy for saying that, but like she's a similar age. Yeah. She's Australian.
Yeah.
We don't have to recreate Nicole Kidman in the role, but I think it's not a bad pick.
Who's my Christian?
Yeah. That's also what I'm struggling with more.
Josh Hutcherson.
Oh, reviving his career, kind of.
Kind of. I mean, he was in Five Nights at Freddy's this past year, which was very big. But I just think he has that, like, it's obviously the PETA thing, but he just has that, like, you just want to love him energy that I think really works. Or you could go, what's his name from You?
Oh, Penn Badgley.
Penn Badgley. You could go that route too.
And you could be a little more brooding as like a writer.
Yeah, because he would definitely handle that like turn where he has to like pay her. That turn would be really good.
I have one.
Okay.
I'm confident in my Satine. I'm not sure about my Christian, but Sabrina Carpenter as Satine. Right?
Very interesting.
I feel like it'd be fun to do a pop star, but she also has like enough acting. I think she was like a Disney Channel person, so like some acting background. I think she's kind of already like this like wanton woman is kind of like a bit of her association because of the whole love triangle thing. And yeah, I think that would be good. I think actually I'm going back and forth on my Christian. I don't know if he can act, but I want to put Shawn Mendes as the Christian. I think that they dated in real life, like maybe briefly. I recall something about it, and it is my personal opinion that the song Nonsense was written about him. Yes. So that would, one, it would be hilarious to cast exes in these roles, but two, if he could act, I think he's got that like good little boy kind of energy of like, I just want this amazing woman to fall in love with me. I think he's got like that kind of on lock. The other person I thought of was Jacob Elordi, but mostly because the height difference would be insane and it would be fun.
There is something guttural about watching a romantic couple with a crazy height difference.
Yeah, and I feel like with Moulin Rouge, you could do so many fun little bits of her like climbing up on stuff to give him a kiss kind of things that I think it could be really good. Because I think she's like 5 feet tall and he's like 6'7", so it would be a lot. Yeah.
Okay. For Christian, I'm going to pick Andrew Scott.
Wow, very different energy, I think.
Yeah, I think this interpretation feels more acting focused. I feel actors, and also like older because I think he's in his like late 30s, maybe 40.
Yeah, that seems right.
I was actually thinking Priyanka Chopra. I just want. First of all, it would be really cool to see like someone South Asian if they are going to do like the full Maharaja.
Girl, get Avantika in there.
Oh my god!
I mean, yeah. I was actually thinking
put Avantika in every movie I will ever watch ever again.
Put Avantika in every movie challenge. I was thinking Priyanka Chopra. I was also thinking Gemma Chan. She was the cousin in Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah.
It just be like a va-va-voom type.
Yeah.
I also, while you were talking, I was thinking, Halle did Little Mermaid, but what if Chloe
does Moulin Rouge? Oh, I love that.
Because Chloe is the one who's
Chloe's
like
the sex. Like
she's the sexy
She's more
one.
of the sex pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Actually.
And her voice is so good.
Oh yeah. I mean those two.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, well, that was fun. RJ, Molly, take us away.
Come what may.
I don't remember what it was.
Come what may. I will love you until my dying.
Great.
I thought you were doing Elephant Love Medley.
Neither of you are getting cast, I'll be honest.
No, that's okay.
Thank you for listening to the best revival of a podcast, Showgays. You can find us on social media. Adam is at Adam Noecker on Twitter. RJ is at RJ Food Rocks on Instagram. And Molly is at Molly Matiny on Instagram. This episode was edited and mixed by Adam Noecker. This has been an Ampliverse production. You can find our show page and more information at theampliverse.com. If you'd like to send us your own takes on the movie we just watched, reach out to us via email and we might read it aloud on the show. Our email is showgaysmoviemusical@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you find your podcasts. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to help others find the show. And now, as always, the show must go on, so stick around to hear what we're going to be watching next episode.
Out in Hollywood, the sensation of the moment is the picture called 42nd Street, into which Warner Brothers have put stars, girls, beauty, and talent in lavish quantities. 42nd Street is a story within a story, a show within a show, a backstage drama of kicking heels, smiling faces, and heavy hearts. It reveals the drama behind the production of a big Broadway musical, from the rehearsals to the grand finale. To bring this tremendous production to the screen, they've used 10 famous stars, including Veed Daniels, Warner Baxter, Ruby Keeler, George Brent, Dick Powell, Ginger Rogers, Una Merkel, Guy Kibbe, George E. Stone, Alan Jenkins, Lyle Talbot. 200 beautiful girls were picked from more than 5,000 applicants for work in these amazing chorus ensembles. Luxurious settings, spectacular dance routines, set to the rhythm of inspiring music, in scenes never before attempted on stage or screen. These flashes give you but a brief glimpse into the production of 42nd Street. But to appreciate the bigness of the picture, the tenderness of the story, the dramatic scenes enacted by its many stars, the power and gripping suspense of the entire production, you must see it for yourselves. It is one of the most dramatic stories ever screened. Glorious, thrilling, and unforgettable.
Come and meet those dancing feet. On the avenue I'm taking you to. 42nd Street, and the beat of dancing feet. It's the song I love, the melody of 42nd Street. Little hippies from the 50s, innocent and sweet. 16 ladies from the 80s who are in this breed. The big fun rain goes on for years. It's Rhapsody of laughter and tears. Naughty, 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 spotty, naughty, and
Discovering voices, building worlds, the Ampliverse.